welcome to the Creative Diaries. Today I'm here with Bonachera.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. Oh. I was trying to think actually, when did we first meet? It's a weird question, isn't it?
Yeah, no. So I think we met about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
It was like right after I came back from Edinburgh last year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I think it was like, was it when we went to see Phil Wang at the Landor? Or, I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah. It was then.
That was such. Anyway, that was so good.
It was so good.
So I would definitely want to ask you to do this because I wanted to learn more about your journey getting into stand-up and if your family was creative.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah, so in terms of my journey to stand-up, so I didn't know about stand-up until I came to the UK to study.
Okay.
Because there isn't much of a stand-up experience in Spain. I'm from Spain.
Okay. Where do people guess you're from? That you say I'm from Spain?
Actually, in my Edinburgh show this year, I did ask the audience where they thought my accent was from, and I got Iceland a lot.
Okay.
And I got Eastern Europe a lot. So I guess like people just suck.
Yeah, more
at placing accents because I'm clearly Spanish.
Yes.
Yeah. So what was your question? Sorry.
Oh, if your family was creative.
Oh no, not at all. My dad worked at a bank. My mom was a housewife. Is a housewife. I'm talking about them in the past tense, like they're dead, but they're very alive. They're still alive. They're still doing the same stuff. My mother do paint. She paints a lot, so I guess that's creative. But I mean, it's just like a hobby. It's not like something that she pursues professionally. And yeah, they sort of like were expecting me to become a lawyer or an engineer or something like that, and they don't know how they feel about me doing comedy at all. Also, they don't understand anything that I say when I do stand-up because they speak Spanish and they don't get it. But that's all right.
Yeah. So growing up, were you the one to make jokes? Were you the class clown, or did you do any kind of like creative classes like improv or acting?
Oh, so yeah, I was like a bit of a class clown. I used to get really good grades, but I would also get in trouble a lot in school because I was like always trying to make people laugh, and the teachers were always annoyed with me. But the fact that I got good grades made them even more annoyed because they couldn't really like punish me.
Okay.
And then like I started like doing like a bit of drama after school. It was like a community like project in my hometown. So I got started with acting there, and then the plays that they gave us to perform were like really dumb. So one year I decided to write a play with the other kids that were in the theater group, and I sort of like wrote a play called Mystery After Class, and it was about students in a high school that are trying to find out why their classmates are disappearing. So they stay after class to see whether there's something insidious happening in their high school that's taking like kids. And it turns out that it was just like, it was so dumb. It was so dumb. The ending of the play was that it was the flu. It was the flu. So like I invited all my friends and my teachers to come see this original play that I wrote. And they were like, oh my god, this is so dumb.
Wait, did they actually tell you?
No, my teachers didn't tell me, but
Okay.
they also were not, oh, this is great, congratulations. They were like, that was a play. It haven't all gone up from that.
Okay. How old were you when you did that?
So I was like 14, around
okay.
14, 15. Yeah. So like I didn't like know about like structuring a play or like how to write things properly. I was just like writing like jokes and dumb stuff Yeah.
Okay. And when did you decide to move to London?
So I was 22 and I just graduated from university. I went to study in Michigan. I decided to come over to do my PhD in in Cambridge, and I discovered comedy, and I fell in love with comedy, and I dropped out.
Okay.
I dropped out from my PhD, and then I moved to London just because there's a big like comedy circuit in London, and I wanted to continue doing that. So that's why I moved here around like 2017, around.
Oh.
Yeah, not
Oh
that
my
long
God.
ago.
We moved here like the same year.
Yeah, and we are neighbors.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We have similar tastes, I think. What did you study in university?
So I did engineering and physics in Michigan, and then when I moved to the UK, I wanted to do a PhD in applied physics, and I really enjoyed it. It was like an amazing. The research was so interesting. I was like super into it. I'm such a nerd, and massive nerd, like a proper nerd. But my supervisor was awful. He was like so mean. He will throw tantrums. He will get angry at the postgraduate student over nothing. So, and like it got to the point in which my research was not giving me much joy, and like comedy was like making me so happy that I decided to quit my research and give comedy a try. But then I have to get a job anyway because it's so hard to make a living out of comedy. But that's alright.
Oh, so how did you get started in comedy?
Oh yeah, so it was actually the first week of my PhD in Cambridge. I just moved over there, and I met sort of like a group of people, in those like freshers week events. And one of them, her name is Miss. She's amazing. She really wanted to audition for a comedy that is run by the Cambridge Footlights. Like a stand-up comedy, and I didn't have lots of friends at the time because I just moved to Cambridge. So I was like, yeah, I'll come with you. I'll audition with you. I'll tag along. I just wanted to be social, and I auditioned for the Footlights night, and we both got a spot, and I did it, and it was amazing. I was like, oh my God, I was in a high for like 2 days because it felt so great to tell jokes and have like people laugh. It made me feel so good, and then I got hooked on it, and I couldn't stop doing it. It's like a curse. Yeah.
So how long after that did you do the Soho Young Lab?
So it was like when I moved to London. So it was in around 2017, around then. Yeah, I first did the sketch lab. So that an amazing like class at Soho Theatre where you can like meet other people and write sketches, and I made a group of friends like out of that, which was amazing because I moved to London, didn't know anyone, and then I took the stand-up one with Andrew Doyle. That was also incredible. And then I took the comedy plus, but I'm addicted to the Soho Theatre courses because,
Okay.
because it's like there's amazing thing that you can do on Saturday mornings, and I will be like in bed and just like wake up until 2 p.m. if I didn't have that thing to do. So it's like a good excuse to get on the habit of writing comedy like every weekend or every so often, have sort of like a target to have something written by Saturday. Yeah. So yeah, the great experience to do. Great, amazing to make those connections with Soho Theatre because they have all those amazing performances. Yeah, very happy that I did that.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. What were some of the main things you learned starting out, like in Cambridge and at the Soho Theatre? Did you learn writing tips, or people give you some advice early on?
Yes, one of the lessons that I learned, because when I first started writing comedy, I was like writing things that I thought people will find funny. So I would like watch other comedians and realize what things make the audience laugh. But then when I would like try that style of comedy myself, it didn't really work. So one of the first lessons that I learned is that I don't have to write for other people. I have to write stuff that I find funny. Because if I find it funny, then I can sell it on stage and people will be on board. If I'm doing something that just doesn't feel like me, people will not get on board, people will not laugh. So that was like the first thing that I learned when I was in Cambridge. And then when I moved to London, I started taking these courses. I learned sort of like more about the structure of jokes, how to make jokes land more, delivery, how to deliver my jokes better, how to start a set, how to finish a set, little comedy tricks. But I mean, those comedy tricks are just to enhance your comedy. They don't make you funny by default. So I think like it's about finding what the things that you find funny and talking about those, even if at the beginning people recoil a little bit. Because when I said doing comedy, I will go to a very dark place because I have a very dark sense of humor and I really like to say, to tell dark jokes. And at the beginning, people will recoil, but then I learned sort of like how to like make those jokes in a way that people will not find alienating.
And what was your first year going to Edinburgh?
So I went to Edinburgh in 2017, and I really wanted to go because everyone that I knew doing comedy were going to Edinburgh. It just sounded like a really cool experience to have. I didn't know that you have to really, really prepare for your first hour. Wait,
you did a full hour your first year?
Yeah, I was like so stupid. So apparently, like in comedy, for anyone listening, so the strategy is that you first go with like half an hour with like a body, and then you do another year, you do 45 minutes, and then you keep doing 45 minutes until you have sort of like a machine behind you that can support you and can sort of like make sure that your first hour is seen by industry, so it can like propels you into a career. I didn't know that. I just like put on an hour. Everyone told me, oh, that's stupid, but I couldn't back out of there because I already have the venue. And like, it was not that bad. I learned a lot from doing it. And also, I'm just like thinking that even if I waited to do my first hour, there isn't a guarantee that it will take me anywhere, because the people that get nominated for the New Comedy Awards are like it's just 6 people, and how many people do a first hour? So like the probabilities are quite low to get nominated for an award, so you might as well get that pressure off your shoulder. Since then I've been doing hours, and I think because of that I'm becoming a better comedian and a better writer. And so and sort of like I'm telling myself that I'm okay with my decision, but actually deep inside I know that it was like a really dumb choice.
Oh well, it's hard to know. I think someone actually said that in the stand-up course when we had our industry talk, like, oh, you do your hour at Edinburgh this year, and I was like, oh my god, because I went last year for a week and a half just reviewing, and thank God I did, because I would have probably have tried.
Yeah.
If it doesn't do well, I do care what people think, and you know, at the end of the day, so I probably would have like. But then you're way funnier than me, so it's fine.
my first hour like didn't do very well. I didn't got like massive audiences, didn't got like great reviews, but it doesn't matter because it's like a learning experience.
Yeah.
Like people, when they're gonna book you in a club, they don't look at your first, like your Edinburgh hour from like 3 years ago. They don't care about that. Yeah. They care about you being funny. So I might not have sort of like the credit to be like, oh, I got nominated for New Comedy Award, but I do have the comedy chops to prove that I can be funny in a club, which I think for me is like very important.
Yeah.
And also I have done now 3 hours in Edinburgh. So I did my first hour in 2017. Great mistake from an industry standpoint. My second hour.
I thought that was a name for a second.
That could have been the name. The name was Wow. That was the name of my hour. It was all around bad choices. My second hour, it was a character comedy show called Alcoholic about Spanish artists, like, and I will paint on stage. It was like very fun to do. That went better. And then my third hour, which I did this year, called The Great Emptiness, which was a theatrical stand-up show about space, did so much better than the other two, and I got a bunch of very good reviews. So I hope that my next hour would do even better. And then every time that I go to Edinburgh, my audiences grow.
Yeah.
Because they sort of like trust more that I will deliver a good show. So eventually, it's taking me longer, but eventually I will get to a point in which I think I will have like a show that will do very well in Edinburgh. I think my show already have done well. So what I could have done is have gone like do half an hour, 45 minutes, then an hour.
Yeah.
But I would not have become the comedian that I am now. I'm talking about myself like I'm the shit. I still have a long way to go. But I think that for me, comparing myself with myself, I don't think that I will have been as good as I feel I am now as I would have been have I taken the long road. Yeah. With the shows.
How far in advance do you plan your Edinburgh show? Are you gigging now for next August?
Yeah, so I'm preparing 2 shows, and I don't know which one I'm gonna take to Edinburgh. I'm doing a horror comedy show, which is something that I always wanted to do.
Yeah,
and I have already done that show at the Brighton Horror Fest, and I have done a preview of it at the Wilmore, just like throwing like an hour of ideas. So I already have something to start with that I can polish throughout the year. And then I have another show called Miss Beehive, and it's a show about health and the bees.
Okay.
And that is, like, I'm writing that one because of recent things that have happened in my life in the past month, in which I got very ill, and then I have to go through recovery and sort of like my reflections about health and how hard is being healthy nowadays, and so on. So I'm doing that out of, like, I have a story that I want to tell.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm working on it. And also, I think I have like half an hour of material on that. I know that the horror comedy hour that I have and the half an hour that I have for the other show are not like my best material.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's good just to throw something on the paper to start with. So I'm already planning those shows for Edinburgh. I already have sort of like an idea what they're gonna be.
What advice would you give to people that want to go, like venue-wise, for people that are going for the first time?
So I would personally, lots of people talk about like how much they spend money-wise going to Edinburgh, and I hear stories about people spending £10,000 producing a show to take to Edinburgh. And I understand that goes with a cost of like producer and directors and PR and venue and so on. So I would say that if you're gonna choose, if you are not established in comedy, don't go to spend lots of money on a PR campaign. Just go for a PR that can get you reviewers in, because there are a lot of comedians that spend thousands and thousands of pounds in PR and they don't get the coverage that they are expecting, but that's because they are not a household name yet. So obviously magazines and publications that want to write about comedians are gonna pick the names that are on TV. They're not going to pick you if they don't know who you are. So you want to get a PR that can give you reviewers in, and that's just like a person that is on the game and is sending emails early on, and so on. And also you can do your own PR. You can send emails to reviewers and sort of like ask them to come see you. You were a reviewer. I guess like lots of performers they got in touch with. So you want to, your aim should be, if you are not a household name, just they get reviewers in, because those reviewers will bump the numbers of people that will come to see your show. In terms of like producers, everything that you can self-produce, the more that you can self-produce, the better to save money. So apply to venues yourself, book yourself your previews. That's quite easy. Like I have already booked myself about 8 previews at different small festivals before Edinburgh, and that didn't take that much of my time. And instead of like paying a producer to book me those spots. So usually you pay a producer, but it doesn't cover the cost of flyering as well, so you can sort out your own flyering. So if you are like organized and you're good with admin, it's worth considering whether you really need a producer. And usually getting a director, that is a good idea. It's good to have a second pair of eyes to look at your show. But again, if you can sort of like book someone to be your director, or you can get a friendly pair of eyes, sort of like a friend that you trust, their comedy vision to direct your show, and that would be so much cheaper, and you might get more out of it because you will feel more comfortable disagreeing with this person. So my advice is like, there are ways you don't have to spend £10,000. The thing about the venues is so hard because they're so expensive. Even the free fringe ones, you still have to pay the registration fees, which is not great. But if you can get like a free venue in a good location that you have seen in previous years getting a lot of people in, definitely go for that. And in terms of like more established venues, Just the Tonic is a good deal, but there are like people have had issues in terms of like they're not getting paid, or like front of house not being there. So it's worth considering maybe venues like Gilded Balloon. I was with Gilded Balloon last year, very happy with them. Underbelly, the assembly also is amazing, and the Pleasant is like the goal. the diamond venue, but that is so hard to get. But you don't have to be at the Pleasant. You can be at Gilded Balloon and get like lots of people in and get lots of attention from the industry for your show. Stay away from C venues.
Okay.
But don't go with C venues. Apparently they don't treat their staff very well, which is not great. And the venues are not like the standard of the venues is not great. So I guess that's my advice. I hope the venues that I have talked shit about don't hear that. But yeah.
I doubt. Well, God, I can't say that now. This will be the one episode that blows up. Could you imagine? Did you get a chance to see much comedy?
Yeah, I saw loads. I started like seeing friends that were doing shows in Edinburgh just to be supported. Like every time that someone will go on Facebook and be like, oh my God, I have a reviewer, I will go see their show and just like laugh. but yeah, I saw like lots of like good stuff. It's so hard to say what show was my favorite because it all sort of like becomes a blur.
Yeah,
I have like a general memory of having a great time, but I don't know the specifics because you see so many shows you don't really like remember all of them. But yeah, I saw like a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, me too. I can't really even list who, like, because I wasn't even there for that long. I think I was there for like 10 days. I saw Frank Skinner, so I remember that. And then I saw this Irish guy that was really good. It was actually on the podcast afterwards, so it was really cool. Yeah, but actually, didn't you do some like a preview with Tamsin Kelly?
Yeah.
Beforehand.
We did a preview at the Canal Cafe before going to Edinburgh. That was like fun. And then I saw her show in Edinburgh when it was like all polished and ready, and I love it.
In Edinburgh, did she have the river dance bit as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
How do you feel about that as an Irish?
No, it was really good. I saw it at Soho Theatre for the Soho Rising thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I just felt so nervous for her. That was the main thing. I think everybody was on board because it's so ballsy to do, to kind of try and dance like like that in front of everybody. But plus it was nice. I like anything Irish, I have to say.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to anyone that... So actually that was one of my main questions I ask on this podcast. What advice would you give to someone wanting to get into stand-up comedy to just begin? Or also, what advice would you give if you could go back to your 16-year-old self?
Okay. In terms of like advice that I could give to myself as a assistant. Actually, I just realized, no, not just realized, but I was like reflecting on my life as I do. And I have realized that I'm actually living the life that 16-year-old me wanted to live. So 16-year-old me picture myself as like having a good job, living in a big city, and like doing like something creative like stand-up comedy, or like, not comedy but theater. I thought that I would be doing theater in my free time, and that's like what I'm doing right now. I was like picturing myself as being one of the girls in Sex and the City living in New York. So like, I don't live in New York. I'm not part of the Sex and the City gang, but I live in London, which is also a big city, and I'm like doing the scenes. So 16-year-old me will be very pleased. I did her good.
Which Sex and the City girl did you want to be? That's the
my
question.
God, I'm such a Miranda. I'm not afraid to say.
Oh, really?
I know. It's not like the sexiest choice, but I like Miranda. Yeah. I know like Samantha, but I don't have like enough sex to justify being a Samantha.
I wanted to be Samantha, and then I moved here, and I'm not.
Yeah. So yeah, I know Miranda with a sprinkle of Samantha, I hope. Yeah, advice I will give my 16-year-old self. That's what you ask. So my advice would be like not to do stuff that other people wanted me to do. Like my parents really pushed me to like do engineering and to get a proper job and do more of what I wanted to do. In retrospect, I think that I would have liked to work on my day job is not in the arts. And that's something that bothers me a little bit, because I always think about how cool would it be to work in the arts full time. So I will have gone back to myself and be like, don't do what your parents want you to study. Just do something that you like, because otherwise you're going to be a bit resentful with yourself for not taking that choice. And in terms of like advice to people starting doing stand-up, I would say that not to worry about progression in comedy. Don't worry about getting an agent just yet or industry stuff. Just worry about doing comedy that you're proud of, that you are happy with, like putting something into the world that you can get behind, that you can sell. Because if you are putting, it sounds very idealistic, but if you have your comedy is sort of like a product, and you have to be proud of it. You have to you have to put comedy into the world that you yourself will consume, and if you have that product, then people will get on board, and then audience will get on board, industry will get on board. If you are thinking strategically about, I need an agent by this point, and I need to be in this club by this point, you are more likely to burn out. Because when you realize that things are harder than you were expecting, and that you are not hitting those targets, you're going to bring yourself down. Well, all those things are so out of your control. You shouldn't worry about them. If they are meant to happen, they will happen. You should only worry about the things that are under your control. And your comedy is under your control, so you have to make sure that your comedy is good and you're proud of it. And like, not worry, about agents and stuff. There's a lot of people that early on in their comedy career, they get signed, and they realize that they got signed a bit too early, because they are put in a situation in which they have to do a panel show, do a headlining spot, and they're not putting the best work that they could put, and they feel bad about themselves. So it's better to be in a position in which, like, when those opportunities come along, you're fully ready to take advantage of those and make the most out of it in a way that you enjoy it, and not burn out. Yeah, I don't know.
No, that is really good advice, actually. I think that's one thing starting out, that we're doing this Soho Young course now. You know, I've been talking to people in the course that want to do a full hour this year. But it's actually, I think that would end up happening, because if you give yourself these like time limits, I would either not be able to promote it properly or not have the content, the good enough content. Why did you decide to focus on space this year?
For my job, because I really love space. It's a topic that I'm very like it just brings me so much joy to talk about it. So it's something that I can talk about for hours.
Yeah.
Because I love it. I love to talk about it. I love the topic. And also it was like a show that was about space but in a very silly way. And then sort of like I talk about how I really wanted to work in a space-related industry when I was at university and I was doing engineering, and then when I started my PhD, and how like I fell out of love with it because of a toxic environment during my PhD research. Because I wanted to shed light on this problem that people don't talk about, which is about how graduate students that are working on research, they're basically employees working for an university and being managed by a supervisor. But because they're labeled as students, they don't have any labor rights, so they can be taken advantage of. And professors take advantage of graduate students, and they work long hours, and then they don't get treated well. There isn't like an HR department at universities that you can go to and complain about your professor, which is basically your boss. So I thought I just have a really bad experience during my PhD, and I wanted to talk about it because I think that people don't talk about it much. It was like very interesting because I will do my show in front of all kind of people, but lots of people doing their PhD will come and see me, and they will be nodding and like applauding and like giving me standing ovations after the show because I was just talking. I didn't go into much detail. I just like talk about it.
Yeah.
And they were like so thankful to hear someone talk about it because they will come to me afterwards and be like, oh my God, I feel so validated because I'm feeling like you felt when you were doing your PhD, and I felt really bad. Everyone's is sort of like a bit ashamed of like admitting that they're not that their research is not going well. So yeah, it was a mix of like this really fun topic that I really like to talk about, which is space, and also this experience that happened to me that I wanted people to know about in case hearing about it will help anyone feel a bit better. And yeah, so that's why I picked the show about that. But now like lots of like sciencey comedy nights are like getting in touch with me to do sets that they're nice. So I also like hit a niche, which is always like welcome.
Yeah.
Because like niche comedy is paid a bit better
Okay,
than
cool.
like normal comedy.
Yeah.
So it all worked out. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any like bombing stories?
Oh my God, yeah, I do. I have so many. I have done my comedy to silent runs for many times. But I think like the worst booming story that I have was when I was like living in Cambridge and I was like getting into comedy. I decided to sign up for the Gong, the comedy store, which is one of them. It's very brutal. It's a very brutal comedy night. People are sort of like encouraged to heckle, and the structure of the show is that you go on stage, you start doing a set, and then people in the audience have 3 cards, and if they raise all 3 cards, they gun you off. But while you're doing the set, everyone else in the audience is sort of like encouraged to heckle you. It's really hard. So I signed up to do the Gong. I picked the Halloween Gong.
Okay.
And we got an email a couple of weeks before saying, hey, you're doing the Halloween Gong. Just so you know, like, it would be very fun if you came in a costume, you know, because it's Halloween. Audiences are going to be in a costume. And I was like, right on. So I put on this, like, a Scooby-Doo costume. I have a massive Scooby-Doo head. Massive Scooby-Doo head. I went into the train very happily dressed as Scooby-Doo, went down to London because I was living in Cambridge at the time. I showed up at the comedy store. None of the other acts were wearing a costume. I was like the only one. So I went on stage. I did 11 seconds of comedy. I got gone off.
Oh.
In those 11 seconds, I got heckled more than in my entire life. And why wouldn't they? Because I was like clearly obvious the
you had some
dumbest
spirit.
So I got going off. I left the stage feeling pretty bad about myself, and then I have to take the train back to Cambridge in the Scooby-Doo costume, just like a really sad person in the train, in a with a massive Scooby-Doo head. So yeah, that was like the worst I have ever bombed, I think. But the second time that I did the King Gong 2 years later, I won the night.
Oh, amazing.
So things get better.
Things get better, yeah.
As
You weren't a sad Scooby-Doo for long.
Yeah. I'm never gonna show up to a gig in a costume ever again. That was my lesson. I also like have bombed really bad in Edinburgh. So in Edinburgh, like, it's a roller coaster of emotions, because you can get like an amazing audience one day, and you can get like an awful audience the other day, and you can do the same hour, exactly the same, to different audiences, and it will have complete different reactions. So the worst one that I did in Edinburgh, it went really bad. It was so bad that I felt like myself leaving my body. Like I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience while doing the set. And I was like walking into the audience and watching myself bomb on stage and sort of like enjoying the entire experience. Because it was so bad, it was delightful for me to be in that situation. So I was doing my show. No one was laughing. Everyone was hating it. My show is 14 plus. A family came with their clearly like younger children, like 8 or 9. They were around that age. They were told that this was a 14 plus show, and they were like, oh no, we're cool. Children are cool with it. But then every time that I would say something rude, the parents will turn to the children and they will start explaining something to them.
Oh God.
Throughout the show out loud, you know? So I could like as if they were watching TV. There was like a group of people that were like clearly not on board with me. They heckled me when I said that I was bisexual. Apparently they have a problem with that. So fine. But one of them will, every time that I will tell a joke, his reaction to every joke was, yep, out loud. So I will tell a joke and he will be like, yep, like acknowledging the jokes. There was like a group of people that sat at the back. And when the people at the venue were like, oh, please sit at the front, they were like, no, we're sitting at the back because we want to go see another show in half an hour. So we have to leave before the show finishes. Which is like, why are you even here?
Yeah.
Like, you know? Also, like, people pay at the end of the show, so they are clearly won half an hour of free comedy and like disrupt the show midway through so they can leave. It was just awful all around. But that comes to show that you can, and the day before it went great. Like, it's just a lot of what comedy depends on the audience. Like, comedy depends a lot on the audience giving you a reaction. And I really don't understand people that go and see comedy just to not enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
With the idea that I'm going to go see the show, but I'm going to make them work to make me laugh. I'm not going to be up for it. They have to win me over. I'm not here to enjoy myself. I'm here to have someone demonstrate that they're funny. And that's like not a good way to go see comedy.
Definitely. That's very like... so self-important.
Yeah.
And I think even like with hecklers, I have the thing that you're never going to be funnier than a professional comedian.
No.
You know, so many hecklers try and make really bad jokes.
Yeah, they just look stupid in front of everyone else because they put themselves in a situation which is so easy for a comedian to put you down, you know? So, yeah, but to anyone listening, if you want to go see comedy, just go because you want to enjoy yourself. Don't go to like be a judge in the X Factor.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have a bad time. The comedian's gonna have a bad time. It's not gonna be, no one's gonna win if you're not up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't go to, just watch Netflix.
Just watch Netflix.
Just stay home.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I think I've been talking.
No, it's been amazing. Actually, where can people follow you if they want to keep up with your shows and what you're doing?
So all my social media is Isa Bonachera all together. So that's like my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram. It's like Isa Bonachera. Like, check me out. I don't know.
Check her out. Thank you again.
Thank you.